right. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Hey, welcome to the Redeye stream number 230. Is universal basic income a good idea?
No.
I would say no. Subject over. But hey, we got 2 hours to fill, so let's go ahead and discuss it. I got my panel of idiots, memes, and then everybody else here.
It's a decent idea. We'll probably have to do it.
What do you mean?
I don't think we will have to do it, but we will dig into that. When I was setting up the stream today, I saw a little message from YouTube. They're doing another subscriber purge. So if you end up finding yourself unsubscribed, please come back and subscribe. Anyway, we'll go ahead and start talking about universal basic income now. This all started from a Riley Dennis video that Sherardi here forced us in my Discord to watch.
So
and now we're all blind.
My eyes! My eyes!
No, it's only a minimization of color.
Well, it's what bleach is made for.
Well.
That's for bleaching.
Yeah.
Riley Dennis is a big troublemaker, and I enjoy starting trouble.
So, eat the rich, right?
Yeah.
Steal their money.
Yes.
What? No.
What do you mean?
No.
How are you going to do the basic? How are you going to do the basic income? Universal.
I see.
No, what the fuck is wrong with you, you mental bitch?
How are you going?
What are we going to do?
What do you mean? What are we going to do?
Oh,
how are you going to pay for it? Okay, here's the thing. Look in general in Discord MC. There is one article that I posted in there, and it's really interesting. Murray Rothbard, who I didn't know, actually had an experiment for how to maybe do universal basic income. His idea was you wipe out Medicaid and Medicare, you wipe out Social Security, you wipe out welfare, and you give every citizen a living wage. Everybody, though. That includes Bill Gates gets free money.
Yeah, but
everyone gets a voucher.
Call it universal basic income. He called it something else. Negative income tax, something like that, and it ran from the 80s to late 80s to the or late 60s to the early 80s.
They've been pushing this. The UN's been pushing this for ages. And what happens? All that happens is you end up with increased inflation. You know, inflation goes up because if everyone can buy stuff, then the price has to go up in order, you know, because everyone can afford it. And it's
what I was saying,
marketplace.
I'm sorry, Cabbage. I thought you stopped talking. Continue, brother.
No, you go ahead, mate.
I was just saying, I don't see how that works. What are we just going to revert back to the Iron Age?
Well, actually, SSM there is that'll be the second part of what I'm going to lay out here. But the first part here is just, dude, like within the next like 40 to 50 years, about half the jobs as we know it, like they're pretty much going to be automated, man. And it's just you're going to have a lot of folks. So like we're going to need to have a big dynamic change to like how we do things. So it's like to make sure everyone.
Dennis right now.
What? I look that good? Oh, thank you.
Yeah, but memes. This is one of the weird things that there was a new industry that was being created, and it was on like the internet. And what have they done with them? They've now started to throw people off. You know, they're making
that's an issue to people's livelihood. Then okay, and that brings into the second part.
Right?
No, that's the thing. It's like we're now entering an age where we might see the rise of the independent contractor. And again, like a lot of this comes into if folks, because I mean, if folks have no money and nobody's buying any goods and stuff, you're not really like churning the economy there. So you need to find that balance. But like you also said, if you just try to just keep printing money and you're not having any increase in value to the actual nation itself, it's like you're just going to go into hyperinflation and you're going to destroy your economy. So you need to find that balance. So yes, you need to get a handle on frickin' spending. Because that's the thing. If you're going to do with this, you need to get a handle on spending first. Because if you actually get a handle on spending, you can actually pay down that debt so we have more leverage in the future when like unforeseen shit happens, which it always does.
If you're paying a universal minimum wage, how are you ever going to sit up there and put a cap on spending.
Well, no.
Exactly.
Here's the thing. And again, this is something like you're looking more along the lines of something being a lot more necessary maybe in the next 40 to 50 years.
If
and that's
you're
the thing, we
paying out
always look
that
so
money
short term.
because of a universal minimum wage, whether something is going to be happening in the future, you're already wasting that. You're not.
And the thing is, look, it doesn't matter when you do it. The event's going to be the same if you still got the same, you know, I mean, if the economic structure is the same way, because you're still going to end up with inflation.
Well,
you're
still
going to end up with, yeah. So okay, so then you, this is why you've got all these.
Kind of like doing a program, you can't just put something in.
Oh
it's
no,
gonna get all
yeah.
fucked up.
Memes. This is why you want to throw matches around the place, right? Just deconstruction.
I never said it was a good thing.
So you're a postmodernist now.
What? Oh, I mean, I often sound like one.
Yeah.
I still don't know what it is.
Yeah. Well, nobody does.
Maybe
They're
you
still
might
trying to
wanna
work
do
it
some
out
research,
themselves.
Sugar.
Well, I'm looking at the chat. Alfred is in there. He says universal basic income is just modern slavery. Kind of is, isn't it? You're keeping the people pretty much under the government.
Company store, mate.
Yeah.
It's a company store. It's like, you know, when you get your food vouchers, you can only go to the company store.
Well, it's
right?
it's a base wage, and basically what that means is if you have enough to just at least survive and everything, it's like, okay, you might have a very, unfortunately, like a very meaningful existence, but if you have the ability to like exist, that gives you the ability to actually get out there, innovate, change to a different job. Gives you more social mobility.
Yeah, but how's that any different than it is now?
No, I'm absolutely agree. It does have the ability to
let me lay out an idea for you here, Memes. Okay, when everybody is bringing in a certain level of money, then the cheap apartments right now, like, they're going to raise in price to match. You're going to have the inflation Cabby is talking about. So that universal basic income is going to go for naught. It's not going to help. Matter of fact, it's going to hamstring the poor even more.
So what if we did it privately?
What do you mean privately?
Private charity.
What do you mean?
Oh, right.
What the reason why I say this, and no, hear me out, guys, hear me out. And actually, MC was part of the inspiration for this, because when I was talking about a lot of different
don't go blaming MC for this.
No. I'm giving MC credit. I'm citing my source. Once I end up, as he would see, perverted, then he's free to go after me. But let me just establish this first point here, in that basically private charity, basically, if that's going to be more efficient than having to have like a whole government bureau dealing with it, if you can maximize the money you're actually trying to help folks out with, I think that's a positive thing. And just from a basic economics point of view, that's more efficiency there. I think that's a good thing. And especially when MC used my words against me, and that he's like, yeah, I actually think most folks are good people. And I'm like, those are words I say. And no, he really started to get me to think about that.
The whole show.
Yo, Memes, you actually used a word I never thought you'd utilize, efficiency, you know? So, you know, good on you for that. At least you've learned something new. That's good.
Oh, thank you. But no. Okay, so now give me like 20 seconds, and then you guys are free to tear me apart. But so what if we did this all privately? And what I mean by that is basically whether it's Patreon or whatever it is, just an app you could.
I'll let you finish. Speaking of stuff like Patreon, we got a Streamlabs donation, $10 from Tiger Lily. She says, "My nigga." Okay, there. I actually said it on there. So go ahead, demonetize away.
Well, it's been nice. It's been nice knowing you, Mad. But so what if we did that privately? Like, what if you had the ability to just give money to all of a sudden this person's doing video content, or like they're doing something locally, just like in their community, and you just had the ability to be like, I like what I'm seeing here because we have the power of the internet, and you just shoot them like $5 and there's absolutely no fees.
Yeah, well that's fine. If you have that.
That could be considered a gift.
Yes.
Yes.
But also, I mean, again, this is the problem with Patreon, right? Or Gab. what was the company called? Began with S. That was the clearance house. You know, they can shut down. You know, the internet is not a solution to everything. You seem to think that, like, if you just make an app about something,
yeah, exactly,
and it's gonna fix it. Like, you just make an app, and it's all gonna get better.
Oh no, that's like when I was trying to take out my F-body.
No,
just try to get all these extra big parts. It's more horsepower. It's a system.
Yeah, exactly, and it means nothing but it's words and it, you know, whatever. But the thing is, your country is only as valuable as its production, because that's the only way you can reduce your debts. It's the only way that you can increase your, you know, your trade deficit, or reduce your trade deficit. I mean, these are the ways that things really happen. It's not just from, you know, virtual shite that nobody cares about.
Numbers.
Yeah.
Well, we got another Streamlabs donation from Jez. Thank you very much, sir. He says, "Half of a couple of bucks on me." Appreciate it.
Hey, Jez, how you doing, buddy? Good talk last night. I enjoyed that.
So basically, just like those Streamlabs donations, people are seeing something. They see some value in it. They're giving some money.
Yes.
I mean, you're not getting all of it, but
it's coming from actual external reality. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you seem to just go into this. You're a freaky fucker.
The problem is the advantage that doing it on a private basis has is that people can decide to help or not help, and you have people who have a personal stake in discriminating whether or not this person deserves help and is worthy of help, or whether or not they're not worthy of help. And that all comes from some kind of societal overlay, all right, in which it exists. What it will never do, what you will never see, no matter what society, no matter where you go on this planet, you will never see it where every single person is taken care of, because humanity doesn't function that way.
No, it's not possible. It's not.
But MC, could it be better than what we currently have? Because I mean, if all of a sudden you could see from whatever it is, like a little old lady down the street,
memes. If
she asked you for a little cash to help get her a new roof, you wouldn't shoot her a couple of bucks if you knew she'd get 100% of that.
Memes. Let me explain this to you. Can it be better than what we have? Of course it can. But you know what? What's going to happen, whether you like it or not, is there will be people that will take advantage of that. And then as more people jump on the take advantage train, then you're going to have to change how you go about doing it again and again and again.
MC, right? No, memes. No, hang on. No, look, memes.
Self-regulating, self-policing.
No, memes. Do you not understand? You don't comprehend that you are living a higher lifestyle than any emperor of, Rome, any pharaoh, any of these people, right? You are living. We are constantly increasing the quality of life.
Oh, I live in the Gilded West, man, in a Commonwealth, man.
Exactly. Well, but that's what I'm saying. But you are, we do. I mean, okay, look, what the sand monkeys want to do, and if they want to stay in the 600 AD, that's fine. They can do that. But we're the ones who actually constantly, year on year, time after time. I mean, but the thing is that when they start to fiddle with this sort of shit, and they want to start introducing really dangerous economic policies, like the so-called living wage, or whatever they want to call it, universal credit, things like that. It becomes dangerous. Because this is exactly how you end up. Do you want to be Zimbabwe? Is that what you want? Because that's what will happen.
I hear it's warmer this time of year.
So I guess I came in a little bit late. What are we?
Hey, Optimus. Yeah. Do you want to live in Zimbabwe, Optimus?
Can you walk into an emergency room and they will heal you no matter what, even if you end up owing the hospital money?
They don't owe the hospital money. They have the NHS. But anyway, Optimus, what you were trying to say?
So my question is, because I came in late, what are we basically what is the definition of universal basic income? What are we agreeing as a definition?
I would call it a living wage provided by the government to every citizen. If you want to divide that amongst the needy versus everybody, you can argue that, but I would say it would go to everybody just because you're a citizen.
Okay, so my next question is who's paying for it?
Yeah,
that's what we were talking about.
Well, I just proposed a potential free market solution. Just let people do it privately. Just let it be private charity. And since it's basically folks helping other folks within their country municipalities out, have absolutely no fees.
People are fucking lazy. They're not going to raise their own goddamn taxes or do charity
So
work
then
like
my
that.
question to you, Memes, would be what responsibility or incentives would they have to be charitable towards people who they deem may or may not deem necessary to be on the other end of the help spectrum?
No, I was about to say this.
Because I think most folks are good people. I think we could eventually.
But Memes, don't we already have that? It's called GoFundMe.
People are good people. Who was it who did the?
So if we look at this logistically, right? If it's provided by the government, as a matter of fact, I'm about to pause my game because I'm about to slap some information on everyone. So if it's provided by the government, the money has to come from somewhere. Okay. 9 times out of 10, that's going to be taxpayers.
9 times out of 10, you mean 10 times out of 10 is coming from the taxpayers.
Or 10
it
times out of 10.
It gets even worse. It gets even worse. The whole reason we're doing this subject is Riley Dennis put out a video on it. And it, whatever you want to call Riley.
Fuck Riley Dennis. Fuck the family chicane. He, she, whatever. I don't care. We're discussing logistics.
Their idea is this. Take the rich people's money because they have so much they don't know what to do with it anyway, and disperse it amongst the poor.
Right.
It's the very
that's the point. That's the point that I was going to be working towards. Now, the number one reason why that is all sorts of wrong is because, say hypothetically speaking, you do take it from the poor, right? Now, what incentive do they have to keep busting their ass to get ahead of the game when they know it's just all going to be taken away?
When everybody is getting paid the same amount, that's exactly how we end up back in the fucking Iron Age, like I was saying earlier.
Exactly.
Well, that's what I was saying is, why do we want to end up like the, if the Sand Monkeys want to be in the 600 AD, that's their thing. But we have never lived in an environment that's ever been better. We live as individuals, even if you're living a fairly middle to low average life, you're living a damn sight better than any king of England.
And to go along with, memes on the whole, I believe, people on the whole are good. The thing is, when a situation happens, it's who you appeal to. It's how you appeal to them. It's not necessarily that they're good. It's the fact that they can relate on some level what they're going through, incurring sympathy and garnering money from them because of that situation. It's not the fact that they're good people or not. It's the fact that they can relate.
Oh, there will be. Oh yeah, absolutely. Folks will play the system, but it's like if you're going to go down kind of like that particular route of constantly screwing people, like folks eventually catch on like that. And like the whole concept of eBay, which is something that even Professor Peterson brought up at one point, I'm like, well, how do you know? And then they had all these intermediaries and shit, but then they found out like when you were actually trading like something of value and giving money, like most folks, like they were pretty honest. I'm just saying, like, if somebody continues to be, yo, man, hey, I had this other thing, and then somebody actually finds out that knows them, it's like, no, dude, he's just freaking playing you.
Yeah, exactly.
And shit like that. I think it eventually kind of.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing about society. But they're trying to make society disparate. I mean, all this weird integration and things like that. Nobody knows their neighbor and
right.
whatever.
If you go back and take a look at previous videos by Riley Dennis. Riley Dennis will admit, all right, that we are in a situation where people's food, people's housing, and are already taken care of. There is nobody in the United States or in the Western world as a whole, all right, that really needs to worry about food or housing.
Bullshit. MC, I call bullshit on that. I fucking know homeless people that are constantly struggling for, and they're not.
But because they're trying, but those are people that are trying to make it. Those are people that are struggling to try and get out of the situation that they're in.
Yeah, These are veterans. Hold on, man. These are veterans. These are people that are living on the street. These are families. And I'm not talking about the common drug addict asshole. I don't give a fuck about them. But continue, guys.
No, but overall, they're not starving. You don't see them starving to death. You see them being taken care of. All right. It's not that everything is perfect. I'm not saying that things are perfect in the world, but overall, for all intents and purposes, for the vast majority, all right, of the quote unquote poor in this country, they really don't have to worry about food or shelter.
Well, no, and let's look at the homeless population. All right, look at the homeless in Eugene. All right, most of them are teenagers who ran away and don't want to be at home and taken care of, or they are the people that are hooked on drugs. Do you think giving them a universal basic income is going to help that?
Third demographic. The third demographic is that they think that their parents are being too oppressive, so they want to get away from that, because the fact is they have no real life skills and they think that they're just being oppressed by their own parents. So they run away, turn out homeless, and it's like, oh, woe is me.
Oh, fair enough. What I was trying to get to was the chronic alcoholics and the drug abusers are going to use that income to buy their drugs and their alcohol. They'll still be homeless.
There is a way around it. Out here, they're going to try
but you have a house.
No, yeah.
I was talking to Dodge, but Dodge has a house.
Oh, well, out here, they're trying
drinking 4 beers isn't alcoholism. Fuck off and take a shot. Anyway.
I don't want a shot today.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's not a...
Go on, party.
Let the Austin speak.
Well, maybe MC. MC might not be a drinker.
Fuck's sake. Do you want to know the answer to this fucking problem or not?
Yeah.
Right.
Give us the answer then, Ozzy.
They're going to have these government debit cards they're going to give out to all the dole bludgers from now on. That you can't buy cigarettes or alcohol with it. You can only buy like your basics, like from the grocery shop and all that. And you're not allowed to get cash out with it. So basically, it's only useful to buy food and
That's what they did to America like 10 years ago.
There is still abuse currently.
Well, yeah,
no,
but...
it does help. It does help, and it can help, and there are ways, but it's
no, but it's more abuse.
So in the states, it's called food stamps, and how people get around that is they offer double the money towards or 50 cents on a dollar on a food stamp card, for people because on food stamps you can't buy cigarettes, you can't buy booze, stuff like that. So
I remember, Optimus, I remember stealing packs of cigarettes and trading them for food stamps so I could feed my family.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what the system has come to, and
No, that was fucking 20 years ago, bro. That's when I was a kid.
Yeah. So there are ways to get around every system.
Well, that's the thing. It's like there's always going to be inefficiencies because we're imperfect. But it's just
but no,
we have alternatives we can do better.
No, hang on. None of this shit. Everything that's been going on about, right? I mean, the original conversation was meant to be about the, this sort of common income, the universal income. Right? Now, the idea of having one, the idea that everybody gets a free ride, I don't understand how anyone is trying to... Why aren't we able to say this is fucking retarded?
You can go into the argument of universal health care, Many folks over in the UK
No.
think it's a very nice system, or maybe
No,
they
but
don't
it's
think
not.
it's perfect,
It
but they
isn't.
still
No,
like
it's
it.
called. No, it isn't. It's called the National Healthcare System. It's funded by the National Insurance Policy, which is an insurance policy, and you pay 8% of your income into it. And it's there as a safety net. It has nothing to do. Like you
get to decide.
And you still have private healthcare. And if you go into private healthcare, you can use your national insurance contributions as an offset to your private healthcare costs.
And that's only as an offset. It doesn't take care of it all.
No, I mean, obviously, you still want to pay your own healthcare if that happens. Yeah.
What's worse is they decide how much or if a procedure is going to be approved.
No. Like I said, there's private healthcare. No. You see, this is the fucking retarded nature of the things that people don't understand. Then we have pure private healthcare, right? We have loads of insurance companies.
Private healthcare. Your insurance companies don't pay for everything.
Okay. Hold on.
Well, no, I tell you what, we don't have co-pays and deductibles. I never had a copay or a deductible when I had an insurance
referring to.
No.
There are procedures that they will not allow to take place.
No. That's the whole point. It's not about the National Health Service. Once you go into the private healthcare service, the same thing that used to happen down in Harley Street and things, going back into the 1800s. No, there's private healthcare, and you can. I mean, the national healthcare is the safety net. That's got nothing to do with the actual capacity of the healthcare system of Britain. That's a separate entity.
What I was trying to say, Cabby, in America, you can go in for basically, like, say your tibia is broken. You can go into the hospital. They will fix you up. There is no debt prison. There is no gulag for owing debt on the on medical.
Exactly. So it's no different than here then, right? Because you can go in and you can go and get treatment at a basic level in the National Health Service, and you can get it for free. Well, it's not free, obviously. Somebody's paying for it. Taxpayers. And so, you can have that. But the thing is, you're not getting any frills, and there's nothing special about it. And, so what? But you're not. If you want to go in for a heart transplant, you can jump ahead of the list if you want. You can potentially jump.
That will not be paid for by that. You're going to have to get somebody to pay for that.
But this is the point, right? If you go and break your leg, then nobody's going to. You're not going to end up eating cat food, right? Because you're not going to end up with a bill.
But here's the thing, though. That's kind of a different argument. Nationalized healthcare compared to universal basic income. I mean, we could have that conversation towards, at least the halfway mark if you guys want. But that is kind of veering off. Let's try and keep it on topic here a little bit.
Yeah. But like I said, again, we have to go back to the original issue, which is that universal basic income is going to create massive inflation. It's the only once you make everything available to everybody, then the only thing you're going to see is naturally companies are going to say, well, we can start charging people more for this shit, and they are going to do that.
Yeah,
it will be a natural impact.
Well, yeah, no, I would agree with you, and I'd even go further and argue that rent would increase. It would wipe out
everything. It doesn't matter. Everything in life. I mean, burger prices, whatever you want, everything's going to increase because once you know that everyone's got that much money in their pockets, that's how much you have to extract. That's the market. That's how the markets work.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, everything would increase. It's not a suggestion. It's a guarantee because the thing is. Now the thing is, everything's available to everyone. Now they have a bar. Okay. So like when they set the bar for how much people get per week, per month, per year, if whatever is going to be provided by the universal basic income. Now they have a pool of money, right? Now that everything is being provided by taxpayers, they're thinking, oh, well, now I don't have to do so much anymore because it's all provided to me. Now, with that, more and more people are not working anymore. More and more people are living off the system, off the government. And guess what? There's no more funds because now effectively everyone has quit working. Now,
welcome to Zimbabwe.
Now,
there you go.
Now take that into consideration when the money dries up from the pool that they're supposed to draw from for this universal basic income. Now they got to ask the U.S. Treasury to print off more money. Ergo, initiating inflation of everything.
Yes.
Next thing you know, we are Russia hauling in wheelbarrows full of rubles just to pay for a loaf of fucking bread.
No. Thing is, Optimus, you see, you can't even call in that because at that point, you don't have any assets left to fucking call upon to use in order to leverage anything. You're out of leverage at that point.
Right. Yeah.
You're dead. You know what I mean? You're dead in the water.
Yeah.
Could you?
And that's the thing. That is the logistics of what will happen. Like this is fact. Like I will pull up all the research and all the logistics and all the projections and show them to everyone if you want me to. But this is what will happen if this happens.
Yeah, but if you offset that with the current money base that's coming, going out through Social Security and all these other,
Social Security is also funded by taxpayers. If everyone stops working because of this universal basic income, that Social Security is going to dry up faster than your grandma's twat and a cobweb.
Yeah, by the way, there's an awful lot of people who went off the unemployment register that were basically just, fucking 30-year-old neckbeards in their parents' basement.
Yeah, it's okay.
And now they're suddenly going to have that income to come in, right? So you're going to see a whole bunch of people who suddenly pop up on the radar again.
So, Cabby, they looked it up. And what Ocasio-Cortez is calling for would cost $70 trillion every decade.
Hey, mate, I just pray to Stalin every day. What I do, buddy.
70 trillion between friends. It's all good.
How you doing, Huck? Good to see you, buddy.
Oh, what's going on, everyone?
How's it going?
I was hoping I was going to be able to break a law before my battery ran out.
I'm sure you can still do it.
No.
This
in Australia. No, just insult a woman. I mean, surely that's a crime in Australia at the moment, isn't it?
Oh, no, I've got a really brilliant one. Talk about Cardinal George Pell. We're in a media blackout, and we're not supposed to talk about it in the media and all this kind of shit. I'm pretty sure it includes this. So, yeah, he's been charged with 2 child sex offences, which you're not allowed to report on because there's 2 more in the works. And, yeah. But they're worried that anyone talking about it now will influence the opinion of the next court case, which I think they've already skipped that boat by him being a fucking Catholic. That already influenced my opinion in the first place. Yeah. So there we go. I just broke a law. Victorian courts are coming to get me.
Yeah, so well, it's kind of like the Tommy Robinson thing, right?
But Maddodge is a Catholic, aren't you? You proud Catholic, Maddodge. You keep going on about Guy Fawkes.
Hey, there we go. Here's a Catholic joke for you. What do you get? What do you give a pedophile that's got everything? A bigger parish.
No.
Oh, that's good. I like that. That is good, mate. That's funny. That's like a little internal gut belly rumble. That's a funny one. Yes. Where were we? Oh, yes.
Dennis has already admitted.
Money.
The thing is Briley Dennis already admitted that for all intents and purposes, we're already there. The system that's in place is for as much as you're going to get it. The system is already taking care of people's basic needs. The problem is that he then turned around and said, "Well, but people need a little bit for their entertainment too. They need a little bit more. They need a little bit more." And you'll always run into that aspect where somebody says, "Well, yeah, but that doesn't solve all our needs. What about this need? What about that need?"
Yeah, but isn't that just equivalent to tips?
Well, no, but it comes back to the same thing. Initially, when people talked about basic needs, the basic needs were just a roof over your head and a little bit of food in your belly. And then it became roof over your head, food in your belly, and, well, now medical care. And now it's roof over your head, food in your belly, medical care, and, well, I need an Xbox.
Well, you left out internet.
Okay, I skipped a step.
It's an Xbox. Where these little shit?
Yeah, and like I said, this is where you get the inflation. This is why you're going to end up. It's going to be Zimbabwe, because it's just printing money for nothing, and there is no incentive to earn the money. It's not like there's actually any productivity out of getting the money. So you get it whether you do something or not. So there's no return on the investment, right?
No, and modern people are lazy.
Well, isn't the idea that would free up people to pursue what they want to in life? Not what you mean
to get by. Yeah, they can go off and do some fucking dance class.
Just because somebody wants to sit up there and do something doesn't mean I have to be inconvenienced or to help them do it. Just because somebody wants to be an astronaut doesn't mean that I've got to sit up there and pay for them to be an astronaut. Just because somebody wants to sit up there and go, oh, look, I want to study my own lint navel, doesn't mean I have to sit up there and pay for it.
Hey, I got $1 million idea. Everybody want to pay for that? No? So I can set my ass? No? All right, then.
Well, no, they do that these days. It's crowdfunding.
Well, and that's understandable. If you're asking, like, whoever out there wants to fucking do that out of their own fucking will, they are volunteering to give their own money away. You're not forcibly saying, hey, we're going to take money from, people who would, have higher paying wages to give it to these lazy ass fucks who don't want to do shit but tinker with fucking screwdrivers in their little garage all day. Or their mom's basement, or wherever the fuck they are.
So the underlying thing is that when underneath a system like this, you have to ask, what are you going to do with the system that fundamentally takes the goals away for people to work towards to better not only themselves, but as society as a whole?
Especially when it was already tried once in 6 different states in the US, and it failed miserably.
Yep. And what happens after the goals are taken away? Nobody wants to work and just live off the government. It's not sustainable.
I have a question for the panel. Do you think hardships actually breed innovation and actually move society along?
Well, that depends on what kind of hardships you're talking about.
Well, that could be almost anything. Between war breeds innovation for sure. If you're starving to death and you have an idea and you
military innovation, yeah.
all right, hold on. I have an idea that's neither military and it gives incentives. Okay, so big businesses, right? Give them an incentive, like say maybe a slight tax cut if they build, like say it like a housing unit complex, right? It can be something as small as a studio, studio apartment model. Gives someone a place, gives a homeless person a place to stay, give them a job, and then give them the training necessary to complete that job. Okay.
No.
What's that? Oh, I thought he had something to say. So now with that, it brings out several things. The business benefits by getting a slight tax cut, right? The homeless person benefits because he now has a roof over his head and a job. Okay. That puts him on a stepping stone to be able to achieve more goals. Okay, yeah. Now you incentivize the business through this aperture because the tax cut not only opens up the funds for the business to be able to build those studio units, but it offers exponential income increase based on the fact that if people don't have to worry about the drive to work because it's right next to their job, or, you know, a convenient place to stay while they're working, that benefits a lot of people and the business. So go ahead and tell me the negatives on that.
Well, doesn't that kind of make you beholden to the company itself? Like Cabby was saying towards the beginning of the show, the company store idea where you weren't really even being paid. They were providing your food, clothing, your housing, and everything else, and you couldn't ever move up from that situation.
Well, no, the thing is, like, it would be incentives for businesses. Like the employees would still have to get paid. I mean, the thing is, the housing complex is still going to be having rent, but it's going to be substantially less because of the fact is they're owned by the business and the employee.
Optimus.
What's that?
Optimus. You must have read some of the things, the days of the the workhouses and the big.
Are you going to finish?
Oh, he might be having internet issues. I thought I was because he was breaking up.
Okay, that might be the case then. But no, like, that's an idea. If there's something wrong with it, please tell me so that way I can check into it. Refine my idea.
I'm looking at the chat here. Aunt Jack says, just giving homeless work and roof does not work. Sounds good, but it does not work. Aunt Jack, if you want to expand upon that a little bit and give Optimus a few reasons why it doesn't work, that'd be great.
Give me I'm more than open to receiving, you know, constructive criticism on why it would not work.
Are you talking about mandatory work for house?
No, not mandatory.
All right, so you're just going to give them the house?
No. Here's the thing. A business receives an incentive for training people that don't have the necessary skill set to complete the job. Okay. It'll be like a tax cut, you know, not a very big one. And it'll play into the other things. Now, hire a homeless guy, right? Tax cut for training him. And then boom, he has a job. Now, you get another tax cut for the business if you decide to have, I don't know, put it underneath some crazy act of where you build studio model houses. Houses big enough to live in, but you obviously want to be able to move up, right? But it gives you that foothold. Now, the thing is, the homeless person is working there. Now he's able to have a roof over his head. He still has to pay rent because he's still getting paid by the business, but that is determined by the business itself. But the fact that they not only have the training set as a tax cut, now they have another tax cut for the housing model, right?
Okay.
So now a homeless person now has the ability to sleep peacefully at night, have a job in the morning, and it's not even a far walk if he doesn't have a vehicle.
What if he doesn't want to work?
If he doesn't want to work, then why did he apply for the job in the first place?
Okay, so in other words, he's going to have to work for the house that he's living in.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, that's what I asked in the first place. That's what I meant by when I asked that.
Yeah, no, it's not given out freely because there is no incentive to the business to do so.
While that isn't a bad model, and I kind of agree with it to a point, you got to be careful because that's also the same model that a lot of the mining companies applied, all right, with the company store when the miners initially started working back in the early 1900s.
Well, the early 1900s, they did it in trade of, and instead of getting paid, you know, a wage, they just provided housing, food, and stuff like that for them.
Well, they also provided a small wage, but not enough to actually move up like you're expecting as well.
Right.
I'm just pointing out that there are pitfalls that you have to be aware of. That's all.
Right, there is, and you know, with me addressing them, they now have the capability to be provided housing by the business that they're working for. They still pay rent. But because they work for the business, they get a discount, right? Well, because it's built by the business.
Oh.
The business gets a tax cut because of all these things that are being into play. The person now has the foothold to be able to not only improve their skill set, but to actually be able to move forward. However, be it slowly, but still move forward.
Okay, for this housing complex, is it a subsidy they're getting? That way they can buy the land cheap and have it subsidized for the construction, or are they fitting the bill for that and it's just a tax cut on the back end?
It's a tax. Usually it's a tax cut on the back end. Or if the business, like say hypothetically speaking, the business wants a bigger tax cut. All right. They invest in a piece of land, build the complex that is right next to the business, make it more efficient for people to walk to and from work without having to use cars, you know. At that point, they wouldn't have to pay car notes or anything like that right then and there. It's a foothold.
Yes.
You know, and the thing is, it's all done by choice. The business is not under an obligation to do this, but they do have an incentive. And now, with a person having all these worries about, you know, their home, their car, their groceries, their kids, their families, and how they're going to get to work, if the businesses take the investment and the tax cuts to be able to provide all of this, they're investing in the community. That's one way that they can do it. Now, whether or not the people actually get to work on time and everything, well, guess what? You just got fired out of a job and you lost your home and everything like that. It's all choice-based. It's not under obligation of anything. It's all incentivized.
What? Okay, it sounds like someone's being murdered over there, Ace. I'm going to mute you real quick. But no, okay, what happens if this model works for a year or two and then the government's like, wait a minute, we should implement this for government employees. Now you're not giving a tax cut, you're having the government actually do it, and it's coming straight out of the taxpayer's dime.
Well, a lot of things come out of our dime anyway, Dodge, but still, seems kind of unfair that the taxpayers have to pay for the homeless.
The thing is
well, that's why it was with my plan.
The concern for me is not that. The concern is that such a system is, you got to be very careful because the amount of abuse that can take place in those kind of systems is large.
Oh, yeah.
MC, I pay $575 a year on my land taxes.
Okay, I pay a bit more, but go on.
If I had a structure on it, it would be closer to like $1,300.
Right. Okay.
Literally just with a fucking foundation, bro.
That's your property tax. I understand.
Yeah. But continue. That's all I was complaining about because it's insanity. And can you explain me why they do that? If you can explain it to me, then I would get it.
Well, property taxes are taken out for a variety of reasons. Generally, however, that isn't a federal tax. That's a state tax.
The main reason is because the United States government has claims on all the land of the United States. In order to even live there, you have to pay a tax to them. The thing is, realistically speaking, when you buy a home, you're renting that land. You don't own it. And that's because of the government.
Well, you can look at it from that perspective, true. That they can't just seize it without compensating you.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless they accuse you of doing drugs in the house, in which case they can seize it and take it that way.
And because drug plants aren't a thing.
No, I'm just pointing that out. It's one of the RICO statutes, or one of the worst freaking statutes we ever allowed. But no, and while I tend to agree that such a system like what Optimus is proposing could be effective. Okay, the reality is things like that have been worked in the past. There have been similar type of systems like that in the past, and what ends up happening is you end up with a type of abuse coming from the corporations themselves against the people, and generally over any kind of long term, they seem to fail. Ford actually attempted to do this in several places back in the early 1900s, to include actually down in Brazil. All right, with their rubber plants, and while it seemed to work in the short term, in the long term, it basically fell apart.
Another reason that, from what I've seen, those programs also failed is there wasn't a lot of education for the individual about finances, how to take care of some of their stuff. So when they actually did get weaned off the system, they were good for about a year, and then it started slowly all falling apart, and then they went back to the homeless state.
So to answer Anti-Jack as well, you need to have a certain distance between where you live and work unless you own a business. The business would own the housing complex. Point number one. This will not put a dent in the homeless, and you will see people capturing and enslaving homeless, and government will be looking the other way, just like what happened with workhouses in the UK. I don't see that happening. Because the thing is, everything is done by choice. The business has a choice to implement that. They have the choice not to. Okay. Now, people have the choice to work. Whether or not they work is on them, not the business. Okay. Let's see here. Majority of homeless would never sign up for this. It will have to be forced on them, and then that would be abused. Well, that's the thing. If they don't want to sign up for it, they don't have to, and they'll continue being homeless. Because the thing is, now they don't have the motivation to get out of the situation that they're in. Like, the opportunity has been, presented to them. It's equal opportunity, not equal outcome.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, you would have cities that would enact really strong laws against the homeless, stronger than you even have now already. And these homeless people would be rounded up and put in jail, and then, hey, you want to go to jail, or do you want to go get a job over at the factory here and have a house and stuff? They would be kind of moved in that direction and forced that way, would they not?
See, Dodge, this even kind of segues into the how they use illegal aliens as slave labor. And I think the employees, or the employers, not the employees, the employers should be starting and get nailed to the wall.
And Anti-Jack, the thing is, today's society in the U.S., right? He says if you give company financial incentive, they will start to round up homeless and force them into the programs. They can't force anyone to do shit. Given the federal laws that they have already, mandatory regulation for hours, right?
I don't think the companies would be able to do that, but my point of the judicial system edging these people that way would probably happen. So either way, they would be rounded up and put in these programs.
Wait, who are we rounding up?
Anybody
late to it as usual.
Well, I think Mad Dodge had kind of a point there. If all of a sudden folks have actually a means to actually travel around and help improve themselves, then you can actually work towards something better. Try to help improve yourself.
So long story short, I proposed the idea, like, say a big business wants a tax cut, right? There's taxes on big businesses. They want a tax cut. They want that incentive. Hire homeless people. Okay, incentive number one for a slight tax cut. Very slight. Incentive number two, provide the training necessary to do that job and to fit that job description. Another tax cut. Again, very slight. Third incentive, hey, you want another tax cut, a little bit bigger this time? Why don't you invest in a piece of land, build a housing unit complex, which is like studio apartments, give the homeless people the step up that they need to be able to succeed on their own.
So you're giving them something to work towards, almost like achievements.
Yeah. Because when you take away the goals of people, that's when people don't want to do shit because it's pointless.
You're reminding me of an MMO called World of Warcraft.
Yeah, but see, that's why I'm saying
away from people long ago. Okay, so
yeah, but I think maybe it's a value change that's occurred. But going back to the day when you used to get, the mills and people like that, they would actually build entire communities. I mean, they build houses, but not because, a lot of them were Quakers, I think, as well. So they had a sort of religious context.
Well, Cabby, you also had that when the railroad came west. The towns sprung up all along the railroad.
And people would, they were doing it among, like, because that's what you needed to do to actually fucking function, to be viable.
Sorry to interrupt here, but Auntie Jack is trying to reiterate the point that the government or the business will have complete control over their workers. With the current federal regulation in the U.S. right now, that would not be possible because there's a federally regulated amount of time that you can work. The companies cannot force you to work harder or longer. Now, the housing unit, they can impose rules, but guess what? HOAs do the same shit. Okay, you're in a nice community, white picket fence, gated community. Guess what? You're part of a fucking HOA, and you have to ask every time you want to do something to a house that you paid for. Don't give me that.
Wait, who's in a white picket fenced area?
I'm saying, in community.
No, homeowners. Yeah, the homeowners associations are brutal. I mean, they will come around. I mean, if you put the wrong kind of potted plant outside your house, you're
okay, I got it. I was a little confused. No, I've dealt with homeowner association people, and they are scum.
Yeah, they are. They are the true. This is where the neo-Nazis, the new ones, will come from. It's going to be from homeowners associations.
Right. I mean, if they aren't already.
Wait, is that why George Seinfeld's dad didn't get voted president?
Yeah.
My question to Auntie Jack, okay, because since he wants to keep reiterating this point, I want to ask him, by what federal laws would a company be able to take complete control over the company from the employee, given that they have subsidized housing to be able to work and have that foot up? Hey, Maddie, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Because that's what I want answered. By given current federal regulations, prove to me that this is that the whole controlling employees via businesses by subsidizing everything into one complex. I want that proven to me. Cite your sources.
Well, we also have a lot more like different labor laws and stuff on the books than we did like 50 or 100 years ago.
Yeah, that's what is preventing the businesses from taking control of employees' lives completely should they have subsidized housing based on the business that they work for.
Oh yeah, Foxconn has that.
They won't have to use laws to get complete control because they have complete control over. Okay, so under the plan, well then guess what? You're still straw manning because you have listed no examples of what could happen.
What you're providing, the only thing that you can provide, and this is something people have to understand, the only thing you can provide is an opportunity. Whether people take that opportunity or don't take that opportunity, it's going to be left up to them.
So, yeah, and that's exactly correct. The opportunity has been provided. Now, the question is, do you want to eat shit for 4 or 5 years to build up to something else? Or do you want to sit and bitch and complain about how the company has enslaved you when they give you the opportunity in the first place just because your fifis were hurt?
Wait, are we talking about the military here? Eat shit for a couple of years to build yourself up?
No. The thing is
the worst thing.
The thing is, a lot of these people think that they need to be fulfilled in a job. Okay? Right. Oh, I'm not fulfilled. Fuck your fulfillment. You got to meet the numbers in order and eat shit for a few whatevers to build up to where you really want to go. No goal in life has been done without doing work. Period.
Right. And a good example of that is look at the CEO of McDonald's now. He started, on the line, building the burgers, and he just busted his ass working his way up, and now he's the CEO. You got to eat shit to get yourself to a better spot.
I like quarter pounders.
There you go. He's eating shit. Just kidding.
Google sucks.
I'm telling you, man, this is pissing me off. By the way,
I don't disagree with the concept, but you do have to understand that what people will start complaining about is the fact that they don't see a way out. They don't see a way out of the government, of the business job or the company business, and they'll start complaining. And of course, there are leftists in this country that run the press that will instantly take up their cause, and anything that smells of abuse, even if it's true or not, right? They will sit up there and blow out of proportion like they always have.
No, that's why you need accuracy and accountability in media.
Oh, and how are you going to get that? As soon as you demand that, as soon as you
better culture.
No, okay. How are you going to change the culture? Lead what? Show me the leadership meme.
Hold on.
Give me the leadership. Show me your leadership memes.
Let me ask this right now before I get irritated. Does Amazon have subsidized housing?
They have drones.
Not that I know of, no.
Right. So the statement that Auntie Jack just said, go work for Amazon and then talk again. At least they got ambulances for workers passed out due to horrid work conditions. So that's like apples and oranges, dude. The thing is, people are choosing to work for Amazon, and then because they don't see a way out, you know, or because
you used to have Apple workers. Look, Apple.
Oh, Apple. I thought you said
Apple had to put up
apples and oranges.
Had to put up fucking suicide nets. They had to put up suicide nets outside their windows.
Wait, real quick.
Themselves out.
Gabby, real quick. My buddy used to work at Amazon, and he said that they were able to freaking have a beer or two at lunch. He loved that job. Fucking great benefits and shit. Amazon sounds like a badass place to work. I don't know why anybody would be bitching.
So they don't have nets.
Well, no, they have beer.
I think beer is better than nets.
Amazon, that's Apple, and I think that's in China, if I'm not mistaken. It's not.
Oh, they both begin with A.
And the thing is, I'm going to reveal something about myself. It's, you know, for a while, I was discouraged because the skills that I worked so hard
it sounds to me like.
Go ahead, Optimus.
The skills that I worked so hard to perfect.
It's not going to fly.
I wasn't getting recognition for them, okay? I needed a hard reality check, and I got one. I realized that no matter what you do, a company ultimately isn't going to give shit about you unless you hit the numbers. Now, while I hit the numbers, you know, I desired recognition for the skills that I worked so hard to perfect. The thing is, nobody owes you shit. Not even an explanation.
You're right about that too.
Okay. That and the thing is, I had to rely on self-motivation to get me through whatever I needed. So the thing is, for the people that are complaining about being housed, having a job, being able to get to work without having to utilize a vehicle, therefore saving money on a car note and or gas, because they feel that they have no way out, well, they need to self-motivate themselves. You know, instead of complaining, eat shit for a few years, build yourself up to a bigger place, live below your means, save the money up, and then maybe you'll get somewhere.
Well, see, but that comes down to self-discipline.
It does, and people lack it.
And
seriously.
Well, because some people need to be disciplined in order to develop self-discipline.
And with the whole Amazon thing, it also comes down to not being a bitch. Okay,
it also goes against all of this universal.
Cabby, I worked in a fucking warehouse for damn near 5 years. I started off in the screen printing part of it, and then I fucking ended up moving out to the actual warehouse part because they needed help. Well, fucking, they had nobody on third shift to actually give guidance or direction or anything like that. So I kind of started taking charge here and there. They ended up fucking putting me in a manager position. But that fucking warehouse, even fucking third shift, was 115 plus degrees. And this is out in the middle of fucking Kansas during the summer. So it's fucking hot as balls. I work 10-hour fucking days. I fucking love the shit out of it. I would do it all over again. Like, I wasn't a bitch about it. I went in there, I did what I needed to do, and I fucking got the job done. Period. That's the way I saw it. But a lot of people don't see that anymore. They go, well, I'm doing the minimum. Give me more money.
Oh.
Is it because like a lot of folks might feel like that certain jobs, maybe especially if they have a college education, they might kind of feel like are below them, even if it's
what in gender studies?
Reality.
Not MC. Hold on, I'll ask Memes and MC. Memes, what is the hardest back-breaking labor job you have ever had?
Job?
Yeah, the most back-breaking.
I don't know. I've been pretty lucky. I mean, like I've done
chopping down trees.
Well, like demolition, construction. I mean, I'm not sure. Well, maybe hauling like 3/4-inch plywood up like 3 flights of stairs while we're building condos or something.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So that's exactly what I mean, man. And that is work, right?
No, I was dead serious when I said chopping down trees.
Oh, well, I'm good at picking
I
things up and
do
putting
not
them down.
believe you, Shreddy. Not at all. I believe you, hon. No, but like some real back-breaking work, and MC has said this a lot. Personally, I miss back-breaking work. That shit was great.
It releases endorphins, man. You're getting exercise. I mean, hopefully it's not going to overly destroy your body.
Yeah, well, don't let it do that. Don't hit a widowmaker, because that shit'll slap you right in the face and you're dead.
So the point was raised by Aunt Jack. Your luck. I'm assuming he means lucky. You're lucky. You've never experienced real abuse at the hands of your government and business. I'm kind of wondering who you're directing that to. Before I make my next, I want to see who he's directing it to before I make my next statement, because I don't want to get this wrong.
Wait, who said that? It wasn't me. I was talking about hard labor.
It could also be a generalized statement as well.
Right. That's why I'm gaining clarification before this happens.
I was talking about hard labor, man, and hard labor is good.
He's reading the chat. He's reading the chat. Says,
yeah, I'm reading the chat. I got my eyes on the chat.
I'm just not in favor of universal freaking income or whatever. Universal basic income. It's not a good idea. That being said, we could change the subject. There was some interesting news. What was it, like 100 bomb threats all across the country? You hear about that, MC?
I heard about it.
Yeah, okay. And? It surprises you how?
Well, first off, the idiots emailing people, don't they know that it's fairly easy to track an email address, as it bounces around? You can track that shit fairly easily.
And what they were demanding in the email is they demanded $20,000 sent to them through their Bitcoin account.
Really?
Yeah, like Bitcoin is going to do anything, and it's another ransomware type of an attack. It's really what it comes down to. It's an attempt to sit there and see how far they can go with some of this ransomware. Now, one of the things that happened recently that many people didn't take notice of.
You know what, friends? I gotta go start dinner. I hope you guys have a good night. I'll fuck with you in fact. Good night, MP.
One of the things that happened recently is two Iranians were indicted and arraigned, all right, for ransomware attacks. All right, and what they were saying is that their attempts looked to be somewhat amateurish, as if they were trying to probe the system to see what they could get out of it. So we will see.
I found blueberries in my game.
So, anyways, I'm glad you got your blueberries. Blueberries.
Fuck David.
But there's also been the whole thing about, okay, it's getting toward Christmas. ISIS has been making this noise, so we can add to the fear and add to the attacks to make these kind of claims, and that's what all this is going to come down into.
Yeah, I hopped on Facebook earlier and freaking saw a bunch of people who were like, "Oh my god, what's going on?" Blah, blah. I was like, "It's fucking like robocalls and it's just spam." And that's all it is. Like, there's no reason to freak out about it. They did this 2 years ago in one state, and expect it to happen. You could literally
technology is great as long as it works.
Islam has also started its Christmas festivities, and
it's been a while, hasn't it, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was last year that we had Christmas.
Yes, but this is their festivities, you dickhead.
Well, it's also Hanukkah.
Look, would you connect a dot or two just
Yeah,
once in your
well,
fucking life?
No, he colors outside the lines, damn it.
Well, not only the bomb threats, that wasn't the only fairly big news. The shooter in France has been killed.
Well, that's the one I was talking about, Strasbourg. Hello.
Yep, I know. That's why I fucking said it, Cabby. Dickhead.
Yeah, fuck you too.
So he shot the guy in Strasbourg?
Yeah, well.
Yeah, he was in a shootout with the French.
No, he didn't shoot. No, they didn't shoot him. They just no, they tasered him.
I got a report saying he's dead. They killed his ass.
Oh, good. Well, you know, hopefully that happened after the event. I hope it was an extremely drawn-out process.
You hope they tasered him and then shot his ass? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
well, you are always so eloquent.
Murder, usually.
One tries.
And how often have you argued with me about freaking police abuse, and now you're basically
you know, my tolerance levels are definitely on the decline.
So basically, what you're getting to is you're sick and tired of these terrorist attacks. You know, you got to do something to put a stop.
Yeah, just a smidge. Once I found out about all of these rape gangs, yeah, then you know, gloves came off.
Yeah, a lot of sympathy goes out the window when you start realizing just how bad some of the situations can be.
Oh yeah.
I think I started a shit ton of shit just with my idea. Apparently, ideas are volatile, people.
Why are you saying that, Optimus?
Look at the chat.
Which idea was this?
The whole business, you know, and you know, housing and providing the opportunity to get a leg up. Apparently, it's too much oppression for people to have that opportunity.
No, but we had that, and like it ended up as a company store. It was really that.
Well, yeah, but
you know, Charles Dickens grew up in a. You know the reason that you have Oliver, the story of Oliver by Charles Dickens. You know, the Christmas fucking Carol is based around the workhouses from the old mills.
See, the thing is, there's a difference between all that and the idea that I stated.
Yes, but the thing is, that's what a minimum wage does. It's like, this is all we have to pay, so that's all we will pay.
Wait, that doesn't mean you send children down chimneys.
This is the problem when, you know, this government starts dictating.
Only Santa's allowed to come down.
It, though. Doesn't demand it, it just results in it. It results in it. It doesn't demand it. That just happens to be the result. So yeah, all of your fucking, you know, your wishful thinking and your little, you know, pixie dust doesn't actually work out quite as well as you think it does.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily pixie dust. The idea has some merit. I just don't think it'd be implemented without the cities themselves creating very strict homeless laws, because they'd be like, wait a minute, there's this giant program. Why is there still homeless people on the streets?
Well, all politics is local. And I mean, isn't that one of the things? We see money going all over the place. I mean, isn't it better for folks to kind of like distribute within their own communities the best they can to like help folks out?
Well, honestly, the 1930s had a great way to deal with the homeless in the way of the Volks home.
Yeah, they shot them in the
No, the Germans gave homeless people actual houses to live in.
Yeah, right before they shoved them into gas chambers.
No.
Okay, first things first. The gas chambers didn't exist. They were on the east side of the Reich, and guess who was coming from the east? Communists. Jews.
Wait a second. So, Optimus, you're proposing a Third Reich-based plan.
You know what? Fuck it. I'll lead it. I'll lead it. There we go. I'm the Third Reich. It's confirmed.
I thought you were a robot going your own way.
This
Yeah,
is a
no,
fourth
he's
Reich.
saying no. This is beyond the right. This is the Russians. Well,
No.
this is the
Dubrovka.
I'm pretty sure he's saying this is the
No,
final
if-
solution.
Soviet Russia. Waldo finds you.
That's not what I'm fucking saying.
I like Waldo.
First things first, if you want to get into the Holocaust, we can do that on a different stream. I don't want to derail this one. Second,
I need some vodka.
Wait, when did Bruni show up?
Well, it won't
Like,
matter.
not
Don't
that
worry.
big
It always happens. It always happens,
Christ.
mate.
That's what happens when I don't pay attention.
oh, go fuck yourself, Sharadi.
Oh, honey,
Can
you're
you
adorable.
Fuck off. Stop with the blood.
We love you too, Cabbage. It's okay.
But was your point of that,
Fucking-
Bruni, that the
Yeah,
Jews
baby,
gassed the
it's cold
Jews?
outside.
I think he was talking
No,
about
I'm-
a social program for housing for folks that were.
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing is, it's not socialized. It's incentivized by businesses. Okay, it's provided by the business as a way to say, hey, look, I understand how difficult it is to get to and from work based on, gas prices, car prices. Want to make things a little bit easier. So, hey, we do have a studio model unit. You still do have to pay rent, whatnot. But it is substantially lower due to the fact that you do work with us. Hey, don't worry, we're getting a tax cut for it.
Oh, dude, that reminds me of the Drew Carey show when they lived above their bar.
Dodge.
Yeah, I mean, they worked at the bar. I mean, hell, I'd love to live above a bar. Shit.
The thing
I
about
have all the alcohol I wanted.
The thing about the company stores is yes, these happened in the past, but we don't live in the 1900s. We don't live in the early 1900s, and we have a plenty of other
why did I drop?
protections. I don't know why you dropped. All right. When people drop, they tend to take other people with them.
No, it's hangouts. It's shit. It's fucked up.
But the thing about the company,
fucking with me or leave.
The thing about the company stores is yeah, those things happened in the past, but we have protections and so forth today that didn't exist back in the past. So
I found more blueberries.
So these things can work. These things could probably work better today than they did in the past. However, at some point in time, just like no matter what you do, whenever you put in a program that's going to change society, society will change around it. And over time, as society changes, all right, it'll have a program that was working effectively within the society that it was meant to work within. Over time, all of a sudden that program may not last very long, or it may become outdated. This is what has to be accepted: is you're going to have to change these things over time.
Well, yeah, people ruin everything.
And yet you say that people are generally good.
That's true.
Oh.
It's very
Fuck your whole
postmodern-esque.
theory.
Well, it's 4:20. I'll be right back.
I think we understand that reference, everybody.
That's 7:20.
Goddamn generate.
Oh, West Coast, gotcha.
But no, the thing is if we're going back to Riley Dennis's freaking ridiculousness, right? That's pure socialism, and of course, it will never freaking work. The thing that people have to come to grips with is that if someone chooses not to take advantage of an opportunity, if someone says, no, I don't want that opportunity, as long as you're not forcing them into taking that, right? If the circumstances that they're living under force them into it and they decide to do it, it's still their decision.
But isn't often it a lack of knowledge?
Yeah, but why don't we real quick, Bruni, why don't we disseminate disseminate fucking Riley Dennis's whole idea here? Because what they were proposing is that food banks and welfare isn't enough. We should just give everybody even more money, or kind of replace
because that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And then they would go on to say the rich have so much money they don't even know what to do with it. Redistribute that money as well. Aren't you just making the rich poor, and then you're gonna have to give them money too? Aren't you making the problem worse? And if the rich lose their money, they're not going to keep employing people.
I thought we went over this already.
Well, yeah, but he brought up Riley Dennis's damn video, and it's just so idiotic. It makes no fucking sense. Swear, the Bernie Sanders School of Economics. It's ridiculous.
Oh, he totally subscribed.
I was about to say, I distinctly remember a 15-minute rant that I had on why this would fail.
You don't find that a little suspicious, though? A Jew advocating for Gibbs.
Who to what?
A Jew advocating for Gibbs to poor old oppressed minorities.
What's a Gib?
Giving money from white people.
Oh, that was slang. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Glad to see that you don't know Ebonics, even though you live in Maryland.
That's not what they're even talking about. So there's no racial bias here. It's universal basic income is for everybody, not certain classes.
That's their idea that's their idea of socialism.
Yeah, but not everything needs to be racially orientated. It's ridiculous.
Politics is a cold form of racial warfare.
What? Politics has nothing to do with racial warfare.
Politics is a cold form of revolution.
So, just to interject real quick.
What?
Ain't Jack. Oh, man. Let me just read what he typed. It is not government and companies' jobs to help our fellow countrymen. It is our job to do so. Never pawn off on the government what you can do for yourself. Point number 1. I will be able to do for myself. I have no incentive as a person to help fellow countrymen. Fact number 1. Fact number 2. I will go my own way should that attitude be maintained amongst the general population of give me, give me, give me. Number 3, it is not the company's or government's job. That is correct. However, the idea that I stated was that it gives the businesses an incentive. It is not forcing them to do so. It is providing an opportunity to the business to save money while investing in other people. Therefore, as a result, encourages spending into the economy. Okay, net return monies into the economy leads to better generation of revenue for any and all businesses.
So private charity.
Not private charity. The workers get housing and stuff like that, and they work.
So the only thing that matters is the GDP, then I take it, not the actual welfare of the people. So why don't we just import third world workers to do these jobs?
Are you genuinely interested in my welfare? Are you genuinely interested in Meme's welfare? How about Sharadi's or MADDS or any people in the chat right now? What gives you an incentive to give a shit about me? Nothing.
What if you got a tax credit? No. Because, no, I'm going to bring it back to the model I initially was talking about. If you're going to do a free-range public charity, what happens if you could donate to your fellow human being to help them out, and whatever you donate, you can basically take off your taxes because you are providing a service to a person in need.
And that is incentivizing. That is not coercion.
Why don't we?
You can then make the choice on whether or not you want to do so. You don't have a responsibility to care about my well-being, but if you have an incentive, it's statistically proven that you're more willing to do it.
Well, the thing is, as what affects one person in a community affects that whole community. It doesn't matter if, for example, somebody loses their job or Odin forbid, they get killed on the job. You don't think that that is going to affect not just their family but the friends?
Life insurance policies.
Well, we're like.
I'm not talking economically. I'm talking spiritually.
No, he's talking basically one person. We're all involved in our own communities. That's true.
Yeah, but we're talking about economics here.
And that's the thing that most everyone misses nowadays, is that economics is second to. So long as you are not going in debt, you do not need $1 trillion profit each quarter if it means that you are literally exploiting your workers. If you have homeless people on the streets shooting up smack because being stoned out of their fucking mind is better than living in this clown world and yeah.
Hey, being stoned is only when you smoke weed. It doesn't apply to anything else.
I can tell you're speaking from the. I can tell you're speaking from the heart on this. I completely get it.
I'm not finished. My brother interjected
sorry about that.
You know, if you can take a smaller profit after that while giving back to your community so that they have a better life, you know, and then that is the moral thing. The thing that capitalism misses wholly is the morality. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't give a shit if you're some third world shitbag or you're a proud European or American or Australian. So long as you can make that corporation another $10,000 each quarter.
Yeah, but the more money one makes, the more money one can donate to charity. And if you look at the charities that are donated by the upper class, they donate a lot of fucking money.
Well, see, the thing is, I can tell he's speaking from the heart. He's passionate about this. I'm passionate about homeless people too, especially homeless vets. Okay? It kills me to see them on the streets when something can be provided as an opportunity. Okay, number one, that's what my idea was about. Now, disregard the companies. Look at the individual, right? With that idea in place, it gives you a footholding to be able to build up to that. It gives you an opportunity to get yourself out of that situation. Okay, you can't help people that don't want to be helped. If they want to continue being homeless because they don't want to work or whatever reason, you know, we already have systems in place. Hey, look, here's a place where you can detox. Here's a place where you can get off the drugs already. What we don't have is incentivization of that. It's all government regulated. If businesses were incentivized to be able to provide that service to the community as a whole, it's like, hey, look, we have a job here. We'll train you. Heck, we'll even put you in a studio unit because we know how hard it is working from the ground up.
Well, though, that's the thing, and you bring up an interesting point there, Optimus, and kind of ties in with what Bruni was saying there. It's like, in order to help another person, they have to be willing to help themselves first. And a lot of folks fall into some very dark times in their life, just for whatever reason it may be.
Charity starts at the home.
Well, that's the thing. It's usually it's a communal thing, and like, is that something that we've lost over the years? Basically, like going over and like checking on your neighbor, like shoveling someone else's driveway or something like that.
The thing is, you said charity starts at the home. What happens when they don't have one? That's the thing that you're not looking into, okay? The businesses, like,
you understand what I mean.
I do. I totally do. That's why I'm agreeing with you on most parts. But the thing is, people aren't charitable.
He's trying to find an incentive that basically, even if somebody maybe just on the surface wouldn't necessarily care about like their fellow like neighbor or something, but a way to help incentivize to, even if they didn't necessarily feel that way, they have a reason to do it. We're trying to figure that out.
I am talking about the businesses providing an opportunity to get your foot out of that hole.
No, I
what the companies are making, you making as an individual, you are saving money by being housed by the same company that employs you and trains you. They are investing in you as an individual. You can utilize that skill set to propel yourself further. You know, if you live below your means and actually save money, you can get higher to where you're at. The mentality of most people these days is, you know, charity starts at the home. I get that. That's a fantastic idea. People are not charitable. You don't want to know why? Because they're stuck in the same situation, if not worse than other people that are complaining. Okay,
they don't see a path forward.
The thing is, the businesses have an incentivization or an incentive to invest into the people that they're employing. It shows that they do care about their employees. And it gives them a foothold into building themselves out.
No, that's true. The only thing we run into, sorry, MD, it's just we run into kind of like the fiduciary duty if you're dealing with a publicly traded company to maximize the actual payout to the stockholders. Go ahead, MD.
Yeah, well, I don't like the premise that people aren't inherently generous. Look at what Americans give. Look at GoFundMe as a site for example of charity.
People so that's not charity. Inherently charitable to each other. The reason we don't have more charity is because we have a breakdown of communal trust brought on by the changing demographics. You don't think if today if America was like 90% white, there wouldn't be a massive, massive increase in charity out there, because we would understand, okay, this money I'm giving to this guy, he is of the same stock as me. He may not agree with me. He may not like the things I believe in, but he understands me on a racial level. He and I are brothers.
So, Brenoy, I'm gonna need your money now as a form of charity.
I don't have any money.
You can look at it from that aspect, but I'd say, I mean, okay, you can go by basic ancestry as one aspect, but I mean, there's all different types of groups and interests and stuff that folks share in common that they're willing to help out their fellow creature over. And it's just like one of the things that MCU's not here right now, he brings up that I do think is important. A lot of folks are too proud to ask, especially if they're in trouble.
Do you live in a home? Genuine question. Do you live in a home?
I currently live with the fam. Are you going to ask me a question and then just cut me off?
Sorry, didn't hear you talking at all.
I currently live with a family member because I can't find an apartment around me that is within my price range that would also allow me to have my pet.
Okay, so yeah, he has a place to live. If that was your basic question, he's not homeless.
So he has enough money to take care of a pet. He has enough money to essentially feed himself. Because I assume that his family member does not allow him to live there by himself, because most family members don't nowadays.
But is it like one of those things where it's like if you feel like you're kind of in a rut and you're just kind of spinning your wheels, if you don't see that proper path forward in life, because back in the day you got like a high school or maybe even just like a 2-year associate's degree and stuff. You go work for a company for like 30, 40 years, you end up retiring, you get yourself a pension and stuff, and you actually had a way to provide like for your family and stuff. And it seems like the dynamic, it's much different.
The thing is, granted, they had it easier back in the day. But just because they had it easier doesn't mean that you need to work less just to prove a point. No. And that's the thing. People want to claim that, you know, people should be charitable and all. That under an optimal setting, that would be fantastic. However, the bottom line is everyone's at a certain bar in their life to where they can't see a way out, and they expect a lot of, oh, you got this, you know, pat on the back and everything, you know, motivational speaking or whatnot, but still they think nobody can relate to them, you know. And the thing is, people need to realize you need to self motivate. Okay, you can't see a way out, put yourself outside the box. Find, you know, look at it from a different angle.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, even if an individual has the ability to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, I mean, a friendly hand offered to you, I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with that, brother.
There's nothing wrong with that. But the moment that you expect someone to help you when getting out of a situation is the moment that you're going to fail.
Well, that's a cultural thing.
No, it's a factual thing, because the thing is, if you need to look at it as going into anything that you do, you're going to do it alone. Okay, society is not so kind as to be automatically jumping on board. Hey, yeah, you know what? I'm going to donate my free time, my free energy, and everything like that to help you succeed, without having an incentive of what's in it for me. Okay,
here's an example of a good program that does something kind of like that. Habitat for Humanity. You go and you volunteer your time to help build 3 other houses, and then the 4th house you build, that it's the community helping you. You still have to pay down a mortgage, but
pissed with fucking Google.
But Cabby, just a second. But you get a house, you have to pay the mortgage still, but it's a lot less than it would be if you just out and out bought a house. And it, you know, now there's a new homeowner in the community, and it really is a good program, and it's all private charity pretty much.
I think the biggest difference that, you know, we're kind of all glossing over here is the difference between a hand out and a hand up.
Do you have a definition for the difference?
A hand up would be an opportunity provided to help you dig yourself out of the hole. A hand out is automatic. Well, hey, look, here's $50. You know, go utilize it on this. Fuck you! Don't tell me what to do. Go spend it on alcohol.
So it's the difference between handing someone like a cooked dinner and handing them a fishing rod.
They stay fed with the fishing rod if they develop their skills. That's a perfect situation right there.
No, it's not.
No, you say that
nowadays you need a fishing license.
Well, that goes into government regulations and shit. So.
Yeah, but he likes licenses, right?
Who?
You. You like everything. I like licenses.
I don't understand.
No, yeah, you don't like it when it's applied, you know, arbitrarily, which is what
I pushed Cabbage off the deep end. I'm sorry.
No, you didn't. You couldn't possibly do that. You just bore me. You could send me into a coma. I'll admit that.
At least you'll get a good night's sleep.
He did fall asleep before.
I did. You see, we even have a case. We have a case study.
Well, we're running out of time here. We got about 20 minutes left. So, what about like internships and stuff like that? Would you be making the companies that provide internships actually doing it paid if you implemented this type of idea, Optimus?
If it was in relation to my idea, it wouldn't be labeled as an internship. You get paid while in training because you're also contributing to that company.
It's more like an apprenticeship kind of.
They used to go exactly apprenticeships. What the fuck is wrong with that? Why do they have to keep relabeling things just to make it
would
free?
Be an apprenticeship. You get paid for the work that you put in.
Yeah.
You know, but you're also being taught on the job. It's like a trade.
My God, God forbid.
You know, so it's like internships are originally underneath the idea that you don't get paid for them. Nobody can sustain off that.
Wow.
Well, but if you're going to be an electrician or something, or a plumber, if you're actually like doing work, I mean, yeah, you're just basically journaling.
So that's a trade that you want to start to get into when you already have a shit job. when you're already eating shit. It is another step and a stepping stone of building yourself out of that hole.
Don't be so fucking sure. A lot of people make a shitload of money. I mean, contractors make decent
after you get through with the apprenticeship and the trade's done. Yeah, you make a shit ton of money, and that thing, the whole internship or however you want to do it, apprenticeship. Are you making money while learning the trade for electrician, or
Well, I think that's what Cabby may have been touching on a little bit, because like with an apprenticeship, there's a path forward there. You put in your hours, and once you get to whatever 6, 8, 10,000 hours, and you actually get like your master's license, like then you can you start your own companies, do this, subcontract out, and it's just like Cabby said, you can make some really good money.
Great.
Okay, but what about the people who don't have the skills to become a plumber or an electrician?
Well, they go off and do something else. Exactly. There's going to be.
Oh my fucking god! Shut the hell up for a minute, Dodge. You asked a question earlier.
I've barely
today.
spoken in the last.
And I've barely spoken at all.
Yeah, and nobody wants to hear it anyway.
Oh my god, you
ladies.
Sharati, go make a fucking sandwich. Be a good wife.
I'm not your wife, you socialist cunt.
I left my.
I didn't say you were my wife. I want to marry a bitch like you.
Oh, good. Anyway, you asked a question earlier today regarding hardships breeding better things. I asked you a question in return. What kind of hardships were you talking about?
I said different kinds. Like, okay, when I was homeless, sleeping in a fucking tent, you know what it made me do? Make some fucking money and get out of a goddamn tent. Hardship breeded me actually owning my fucking home now. It ain't the best, but it's fucking mine.
There you go.
Any type of hardship. Yeah. Pull yourself up. Work at something. You don't need the government to do it for you.
Because otherwise, how do you know if you've improved your life, right? Because you got something better, and then something better, and something better. So you can recognize that you're actually achieving something.
And I wasn't trying to sound all fucking irritable about it. But yeah, no, that's what I meant by it. Is any kind of hardship really? It breeds innovation, even if that's you innovating in your own life to fucking do better yourself, is what I was trying to get at.
It just doesn't always lead down the best path, MD.
Well, no, what I was... Exactly. That's actually where I was going. Hardships can breed self-destruction.
Weird sexual shit, No. Yeah, you see? Because this is what freaks do.
That's not exactly what
in moderation.
There are people that can end up with hardships. People end up with cancer, but they beat it. They've beaten the cancer, but they can't get past the fact that they actually had cancer to begin with. They end up going down a self-destructive path.
Yeah, or like the opposite of what actually happened to me. There's people who become homeless. At first, they're like, okay, I'm still going to get a job. I'm going to, make something out of my life still. But then they end up, a month, 2 months, 3 months. And then they just give up and don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's Darwinism. It's survival. At the end of the day, there are certain people who are going to survive and do it by themselves. And you should respect those people because they did it by themselves. Now, yeah, you may want to give people a helping hand and stuff, but they don't deserve the same respect as the guy who did it himself. They don't. Why would they?
Well, some folks see it as an investment and stuff. Like even President Trump? No, someone like his caddy is now running his hotels.
I'm talking about the substance of the person. It's got fuck all to do with Trump. How do you bring Trump into it, you fucking psycho?
No, he saw something in people and gave them opportunity.
You really are you're a retarded mental case.
No, memes. Okay, take the person that, like Dodge. He was homeless. He fixed everything. Now he's got a home, he's got a wife, he's got children. He's self-sufficient. Now take the person that Dodge and Cabby were both talking about. He was homeless, he got a job, and then he ended up homeless again. Which one would you bet on? Would you give the person that had a job and then was homeless again, got rid of his job? Would you bet on him to do it?
Well, if you're talking from a strictly like investment portfolio, you're going to invest in what you think is going to have the highest chance of success. That doesn't mean you just let people die in the streets.
Don't try and be fucking pretentious. You know what she means. Would you bet on that guy? You know what she's saying. Don't try
to go back economics too. I mean, sometimes high risk and high reward.
Stop acting like a bloody flamingo. No, would you or would you not? At that point, which would be the best bet?
Well, maybe you need to divide your investments.
Diversified. Yeah. Okay, hedge fund. Yeah.
So to reiterate on this, if you were running a company and you knew this person had a history of quitting a job a month after,
this is why he's never going to get anywhere, because this cunt could never run a company.
Well, hold on.
He could never function in any managerial position.
Let me pose the situation to him because I want to put it into perspective.
He's gonna be a dishwasher for the rest of his life.
Okay, let's stop with the parting shots.
It's no ad hominem.
No. To be fair, whether he knows it or not, I did run a company and $20,000 sunk cost, but you learn a few things.
Yeah, exactly. You pissed it away. You know why? Because you're a dick. This way.
Cabby, let off this talk. Like I said, I have assignment due today, so I am going to have a 2-hour hard stop. So we got about 12 minutes, guys.
So memes, take this as a given, right? You run a company. You have two options. Okay, you have two resumes on your desk. You are personally responsible for hiring either of these people. Now, the client or the company is only dictating that they only have room for one. Okay. Now, on this resume, you see that this guy's work history is, a month long, each job. And there's about a 6-month, gap between them. Okay. Each job. Now, this individual, you don't know if he's homeless or not. You don't know if he's had a bad life or bad situation. All you can see is a consistent 1-month employment, 6-month gap. Now, this other person you see, good work ethic, usually a week turnaround time between jobs, and each job is held for at least a minimum of a year. Okay. Now, you don't know if this person is homeless or if they're in a slump or something. Given the information that is presented to you, what would you hedge your bets on for producing for the company?
Well, you have to hire the best qualified candidate.
Well, that's exactly what the point was earlier.
But you're talking about
and you just tried to find some way of avoiding.
No, because you're posing a business question, which is order to maximize profit there, versus a moral question, which is you should want to take
but as a business, you are not
such a little.
Okay, both of them have the same qualifications.
They both have the same qualifications.
Mirror snake.
They both have the same amount of training. Hell, we can even go stretch it as so far as to say the exact same school.
Oh, if you're just talking about previous work history, I mean, yeah, you're just going by the sample there. You're going to go with the best qualified candidate for a business, yeah.
Right. So then let me ask you, what as a business privy is you to their personal life information to make that judgment call?
Well, there are laws against that.
Right. So then how would you be able to tell or be quote unquote charitable based on those laws?
No, you just you go by the information that you have to operate with.
Either that or you go a different route. If you want to be charitable and let some people that are down in their luck have entry-level positions, go down to the local mission and do a recruitment, a jobs fair there. And you'll find plenty of people who need to work, and you might be surprised at what qualifications they have.
You could see a guy come up in raggedy clothes, looking homeless, but his resume looks immaculate. What can you deduce from that situation?
Did you call and make sure all the references were real?
You're at a job fair. You're only basing it on first impressions as of right now.
And then I might throw the application away when he walks away. I mean, because you don't know. It could all be made up.
Right, but the thing is, you made a choice. You know, just by that study alone, would it be viable to say that society as a whole is not charitable because of that? Because businesses are interested in the bottom line. Okay, if they want to provide that opportunity to people to be able to dig themselves out for an incentive, what is bad about that?
It needs to be properly structured, and very often when folks talk, go on, Bernie.
Bruno, you're cutting in and out.
Yeah,
you're going robot.
Bad connection, Bruni.
Yeah,
it's this part of the road.
Oh, there you go.
Can you break it up for anyone else?
Yep, really bad.
Yeah, you might have to drop out. Man, I don't know. We only got 5 minutes left, and you're going robo.
Yeah, the upload on your voice is coming in choppy.
But thank you for swinging by. Yeah, thanks for swinging by. It's always fun to argue with you.
But the thing is, you need to properly change. If you're going to change things, a lot of folks just think, oh, this dramatic, just absolutely just slash, let's turn the system on its head. It's like, it's a good chance you're going to bring the entire system down due to unintended consequences. And that's why I say it's just, if you're going to do this, there's this crazy concept that at least I learned when I was studying business. It was called total quality management. What that meant was you take a series of incremental steps to do a more positive thing. You phase it in over time and you adjust it. And that's why I really believe we've been gifted over here in the United States the greatest social experiment in the world. Guess what? Rather than trying to do things necessarily on a federal level, if you are like, all right, we want to do something, why don't we have states do this? If we want to do some type of health care for all, it's like, all right, Massachusetts has done this. There's some other states that have done this. What works for them? What works for them might be different.
I actually have a proposal about universal health. Well, it wouldn't be health care because that's already pretty universal at the ER, but health insurance. We replace Medicare and Medicaid with health savings accounts that are paid into with the pre-existing tax. That way and if people want to pay into it more, they can. If they don't have to. And if for unavoidable situations like, I don't know, cancer or, for example, a family member of mine, when he was just a little kid, he ended up falling on a slide at the elementary school he was going to, and because it was after school hours, the district and it nearly bent.
Robot.
No, I think I remember him sharing this story before.
Anyway,
but yeah, that's the thing. What do you gotta? We've made a choice that human life is precious, and if we're going to go down that route, then you need to take care of folks who just.
Did we make that choice? Planned Parenthood sure as hell didn't. But let's not.
That's another.
So then my ultimate question for like food for thought is if this whole charitable thing is wanting to become a prominent thing, my question to everyone is, what are you doing to make that happen? And that's food for thought. I don't even want an answer. Just think about it.
Well, since I don't know why, but I'm going to give an answer. Because in my worldview, the state arises out of the people, like, because the state and the nation are one, and you cannot replace a population in a nation without replacing that nation. You know, for example, you can't take all of Mexico, put them in Japan, and expect it to remain Japan. Because the state, the nation, and the individual are one, in my worldview, the best form of charity comes from a caring government. And
so you're relying on the government to be charitable first before you take action.
Well, no. The way I'm trying to help people will be through running for governor and in my state, and if elected, put in these policies that I think would make a great change for my state.
Right. So then how would you affect that? Because now the thing is, you're like, oh, I'm going to wait until this. What are you doing now?
I'm preparing myself for that inevitable gubernatorial run.
Right, but people need help now. What are you doing to help them now? That instant gratification factor comes into play here. They need help now. What are you doing?
I'm not in a situation where I can afford to help them, sadly.
So let me get this right. You want things to be charitable, but you're not in a place to be charitable yourself.
I have a simple question. If I point a gun at you and say, hey, man, I'm broke and I need some money. Give me your money. That's stealing, right? Why is it that the government gets to point a gun at my head and steal the money from me and then hand it to you? It's the same thing.
Social contract.
Tradition.
Forced charity is no charity at all.
Well, you missed what I said. It's not, the way I look at it, it's not some external state that's doing it. It's the state that arises out of you.
I don't know.
So you're missing the point of what I'm asking. The thing is, everyone wants everyone else to be charitable until it's asked of them.
I think he's talking about more of kind of like a collective manifest destiny type of thing.
Right, but who initiates it?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah, your charity would be paying your taxes, which would be distributed by the government. That's not charity at all. That's
why my question is, what are you doing? Sure, you might be preparing yourself to run for a government platform, so that way you can vote for the necessary changes. But what are you doing now? People are in need now. What are you doing?
Unfortunately, I'm not doing anything right now because I literally cannot afford to. I don't want to go on into it on stream. We could do it during the after stream.
This is regarding food for thought. I'm trying to reiterate the point that everybody is in a rut. When everyone is in a rut, everyone cannot be charitable. And wanting people to be charitable so that way you can build yourself out, while people turning down my idea of a business providing an opportunity, there's a fail of a total correlation there between the charity and providing an opportunity.
I think a small kindness can go a long way. And it's just a lot of small kindnesses add up.
Well, no, and I'm going to let that food for thought be the final word. Please like and subscribe. If you're watching this later, go ahead and throw a comment down in the comment area. We will be back tomorrow with a debate. I'm not sure what about yet, but I'll figure it out. Good night, good luck, and don't go to France. We're out of here. Peace.